What's going on, guys? Welcome to the official HAG press conference reaction. Manchester United versus Brighton tomorrow at 3 o'clock. But is that going to be the talking point? It's not going to be the talking point because it's going to be about Sancho and it's going to be about, I was going to say Jadon Maguire then. Don't know who that geezer is, but it's going to be about Maguire. It's going to be about Sancho and probably injuries. They probably won't even ask him a question about Brighton, but it is ongoing as we speak right now. For some bizarre reason, I feel like they've stopped doing live when they're asking him questions, doing it live, and they're just pre-recording it and then putting it out as a video. I have no idea why, but I loved reacting live to it whilst it was there, so we could kind of bounce off the reaction and then talk about it. But quotes are already coming out and surfacing at the moment, and some of them were pretty standout. So let's have a look at him. So let's dive into it right now. Right now, let's have a look, shall we? And see what's on there, pal. I've just seen something about Varane and Mason Mount and a few others as well. So apparently Ten Hag refused to refer to Jadon Sancho by name. Ten Hag said he inherited a no-good culture at United when he took over. Victor Lindelof and Lisandro Martinez are available for Manchester United tomorrow, thank God. Praise the Lord, we don't have to start Johnny Evans or Harry Maguire. Lindelof and Lisandro available. That's very nice to hear. Varane and Mount are not available. So they're not available for selection. A lot of people thought Mason Mount may have been back in contention to start this Brighton game, or at least be on the bench, for this Brighton game. That doesn't seem to be the case. So no Mount, no Raphael Varane in the back line still. I believe Varane's still a couple of weeks away until he can actually start for the team. So, yeah, like Dan Errington just puts in the chat there, boom, no Evans or Maguire. Great start to the press conference. I'm waiting for these Sancho quotes to come out. Apparently, he's reluctant to discuss Sancho, but addresses issue of discipline at United. Strict lines is what the club asked me because there was no good culture before last season. So to set good standards, that is what I did, and it is my job to control the standards. The team is above everything. Said he's asked to set standards because the culture before was no good. It is never someone makes one mistake. It's a whole process before you come to a certain outcome. He doesn't want to speak about Sancho a lot, but he says we played very well versus Arsenal. We trained very well. We played very well. We deserve much more in Arsenal. It was not our side. That was the outcome of our analysis. Do we agree with that analysis as a United community? Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Afternoon to Brian. Afternoon to Mustafa Murak, who's in the chat. Good afternoon to Dan as well. Make sure you leave a like on the video for us if you can. Just whilst we're on the discussion of Jadon Sancho, for the members, so there's a Real Red Ultra member in the chat currently, Brian. If you are a member, I'm dropping a video on Sancho from the very start of his career up until now, from Watford Academy to Man City to Dortmund to United, throughout, and analysis on the player himself, where it went wrong, where it went good for him, traits off the pitch, like everything you need to know about Jadon Sancho is in that members video. So if you want to check that out, that'll be dropping over the weekend. I've just writ it up. Is that the right words? I've just scripted it basically. Got all the details down. Just needs filming now and editing. So that'll be out on the weekend, and I hope you guys enjoy that. What we want to kind of do is put out stuff that's informative and people want to watch, and it provides value to viewers. Because I was thinking, well, if I'm watching content, what do I want to know? What's relevant at the moment? And Jadon Sancho obviously is the big talking topic. So I wanted to dive into, have a look at reports from, let's say, ex-coaches or friends or players who have been around him pretty much all their life and speaking honestly and openly about him. So I think that's very interesting. And there's some mad stuff in there. So keep an eye out for when that drops. That'll be dropping very shortly. On Sancho again, he says, I think everything is said. So the squad is strong, in good spirits and good mood going into the game. Very deflective at the minute. Here it is, the Maguire. I said at the start of the show it's going to be the Sancho Maguire show. It's just a quote on Maguire I've just seen. Let me pull it up. Where is it? I've just seen it then. Oh, yeah. On Erik Ten Hag and Harry Maguire, I have said many times it's disrespectful. He doesn't deserve it. He is a great player and gives great performances. But some people might get frustrated with that. But if you've done these press conference reactions long enough with myself or whatever content is you watch to know they give political answers. They don't always give what they believe. They just put that out there to kind of calm the media down. I'm not saying he doesn't believe he's a good player, but fantastic performances. Yeah, not really, as a but on United being without Sancho and Antony, he says you have sometimes setbacks in seasons. Players are injured or for other reasons aren't available, so you construct a squad. The squad is very good, and the players who are available and motivated to give a good performance. You have sometimes setbacks in seasons. Players are injured for other reasons, are not available. So you construct a squad, and the squad is very good, which I touched on there as well. So yeah, he's not willing to kind of duel with these journalists and dive into the Sancho thing too much and get very specific about it, because the one point why the journalists are there is because their boss is asking them to ask about a certain thing so they can get a story. That's basically what they do, what they're about. Your place in the Cosmos in the chat. I haven't seen him for a bit. I hope you're good, mate. Shreya's in the chat as well, saying just joined. What is the news? So Lindelof and Lisandro Martinez are fit to face Brighton. They will probably start the game tomorrow. He got asked about Jadon Sancho, but he was basically deflected it and just said there's discipline issues at the squad when he arrived. So what does that tell you? Harry Maguire got asked about that. So the treatment's unfair. He's an amazing player. And he doesn't like these, the abuse, basically. He says, I've said it many times, it's disrespectful. He doesn't deserve it. He's a great player, he gives great performances. It's crazy, but how it works. Harry has to block this out. Easier said than done, though, innit? Tonight, to be honest with you. And on the Arsenal game as well, for anyone who's just joining, he said they played very well and they deserve much more, which, in fairness, up until the 88th minute, you think about that game, we didn't play amazing, but we kind of negated their press where we could be much more calm and reserved in that game and didn't have to go for it. And then when we got an opportunity with like Marcus Rashford, for example, when Eriksen played him in, he got a goal. That lapse of concentration straight after it cost us, really, because then they got back into it. We then scored with Garnacho, lines being drawn from someone who doesn't know how to draw a line. And yeah, the goal gets chalked off and they go and score two. So it's very fine margins in Premier League football. I think we all know that. Shah Sam saying, what about Amrabat fitness? I'm just waiting for a question on that. But obviously, everyone's just asking about Sancho and Maguire for the headline. So I haven't seen anything on Amrabat, to be honest with you. I've just seen stuff on Mount, Varane. And I knew this would happen. I knew they wouldn't ask specific questions, what we want to know. Like the Jadon Sancho thing and Maguire has been the topic all week. I don't want to know about that. We already know all the details of that. I get you have to ask it for certain reasons or whatever, but I want to know about Amrabat. Is Amrabat available? How long until Mainu's back? These kind of questions. Your place in the Cosmos says, thanks, Nick. Been busy, mate. Hope you and the others are good. No problem. Yeah, I hope you're well. Amrabat, already read that. We had our best performance against Arsenal. No penalty and VAR killed us off. Agree, Shreyas. Brian saying if he wants to sell Maguire at some stage, he has to say he's a good player and wants him second. He says Maguire's rubbish, knocks any value off straight away. I remember Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, or was it Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? I think it was about Alexis Sanchez when he was getting asked about him, and he was like, "Oh, he'll come back," or it might have been Mourinho even. I don't know who it was, but he was saying, "Oh, he'll come back. He'll be great. I wouldn't worry about it too much," and blah blah blah. And everyone was like, "Why the fuck is he saying that about Alexis Sanchez? He's shit." But you have to put that reputation out there. If you're trying to sell a player, you're not going to say he's never trains, never turns up. Like, you're never going to say that, are you? Because you just won't sell the player. So, Ten Hag here is a quote saying, it is never someone makes one mistake. It's a whole process before you come to a certain outcome about strict lines. There is a structure to cross lines, so you have to be strong. So, yeah, he's kind of being a bit philosophical in his discipline approach, which is fair enough. You don't want to dive into Sancho too much. You know what the media are there for, like I said. What else is being said that I haven't already read out? It's also with the generation about team construction, the group dynamic, and always about the team. That is above everything else. But within that, everyone plays this role, different characters, and you have to manage those characters. Is what it's getting very philosophical today. I would say Shreyas then. Shreyas the manager. Ten Hag getting very philosophical. I think he's absolutely right. People, I don't know what this narrative is at the minute for people on Twitter and people on social media, which isn't always the best pool to get your information from. But people online at the minute typing away saying that Ten Hag's in the wrong for this and the treatment of Jadon Sancho is ridiculous. I just seen a clip from TalkSport. Obviously, it was TalkSport. Jamie O'Hara talking on there saying the treatment of him. I remember when it happened to me at Wolves, and the treatment of him is absolutely ridiculous. He's doing this to Jadon. He's obviously been paid to say this to get a reaction out of United fans, which in essence is working because I'm talking about it. But he's a wallart. He's an absolute idiot. He is an idiot. Like, Jamie O'Hara, giving advice to Ten Hag. He's like me giving advice to Gordon Ramsay on how to cook a ribeye steak. He'd just say, shut the fuck up, mate. What have you got to do with this? When have you ever been a manager? That's not saying you can't have an opinion, but when he's putting ridiculous opinions out there like that, no one, I don't want to listen to, I don't want to hear that shit saying that, the treatment of Sancho. I'm telling you, that video that I have done on Jadon Sancho for the members has opened my eyes to what type of player he is on and off the pitch. Go watch that out. Go watch that out. Go watch that over the weekend. And I'm telling you, there's more stuff to it than what you see. It's very, very interesting. Ten Hag's been asked about the length of Anthony. I only saw, sometimes you see a tweet and it's only got the first half of it and you don't see the second half. He said Ten Hag asked on how long the length of Anthony, and then it just stopped there. And I was like, hang on a minute. But obviously it was the length, how long Anthony is going to be out. And he says, no idea, basically. Absolutely no idea. Stubborn. Love it. Love it. On Brighton, finally, we've had a question on Brighton. Jesus Christ. We have 2 great games in the spring against them, and we know we have to play tomorrow to our best because they will sacrifice and suffer because it gives you a lot of options. So really looking forward to it. How do we feel Brighton have done now since they've lost Casado and McAllister? Has anyone been watching them closely this season? I watched the game against West Ham. I thought there was certain clues in that game how we can hurt him and how we can affect their kind of build-up structure. Whether Ten Hag will do that or not, I'm not entirely sure. But that was the only game where they kind of had lapses in concentration. It was like, you can get out in there. In all the other games, they've been blasting teams away, haven't they? Like 4-1 in the Newcastle game. You had Evan Ferguson scoring a hat-trick. Luton, they slapped. Like, they've looked really, really good. And I'm pretty sure they've scored the most goals this season, right? Or one of them, right up there. So it could be a bit of a, high-scoring game, to be honest. I've said it many times, disrespectful. Already read that out. Quotes are all over the place here. It's typical. We have 2 great games in spring against Brighton. We know we have to play tomorrow to our best because they'll sacrifice. Already read that out. Sorry, keep repeating the quotes there. And we'll wait for more stuff to come out from that. They've looked even better, to be honest. Their attacking midfield is so fluid. Most goals scored this season. And you know what's crazy? Just whilst we're on the topic of Brighton, right? They have a winger called Mitoma. We all know Mitoma, right? Great player. Probably one of the better ones in the league, especially at dribbling and attacking. Really good, solid winger. We figured it out on his channel literally probably about 2 months ago. I think 2 months of Jadon Sancho's wages equates to what Brighton paid for Mitoma. How crazy is that? Just 2 months' wages worth of Sancho is what they paid for Mitoma. The recruitment is mad. And I get Brighton's different. They kind of go get these rough gems from around the world, from Asia, from South America, from wherever, right? But why can't we do that? Where's our Mitoma? Where's our Enzo Fernandez? Where is our Julian Alvarez? Maybe Garnacho will pay off. Maybe Pellistri will start. Will Pellistri start? I hope so. Let's get an honest assessment. Whilst there's 10 of you to the chat now, will Facundo Pellistri start tomorrow? Yes or no? Simple question. I also put a poll up as well at the start of the show and said, if you could ask a question today, if you was a journalist in that seat, you've been given a brief, what are you asking? What are you going to ask? Are you asking about Sancho? You're going to ask about Anthony? You're going to ask about Maguire? Or are you going to ask about injuries? 54% said Sancho, 8% said Anthony, 8% said Maguire, and 31% said injuries. But what specific questions would you ask? Because people say all the time, the questions that get asked in there are always basic, shitty questions. So what would you ask to pull something out of the manager? There's something creative. Let me know. Put it in the comments. Let me end that poll as well, and I'll start a new one very, very short. Unfortunately, no, but I wish he was. Yeah, no one's confident about Pellistri, are they? I'm not. So I think he'll start. I think a lot of people are thinking they'll probably start Garnacho on the right or Rashford, or it's kind of interchangeable in it. But I think even for Højlund, I think Pellistri would be really, really good on that right side. So yeah. Of course, Anthony's disappointed, but he is okay. I wonder how long that's going to take as well. I actually think, not obviously because of the circumstances, a bit shit that he's out of the team because of everything that's going on, but I actually think if Ahmad was available as well, it'd be nice because as much as Anthony is good for us and the defensive work he has off the ball and the structure as well is really, really good, he does have frustrating traits. So it's refreshing to see someone come in on that right-hand side who will put balls into the box, who will beat a man, who won't slow the attack down. And I really want to see that. So if he doesn't play Pellistri there tomorrow, I don't know when Pellistri's ever going to get a chance. The window of opportunity United is so small. For something like Anthony to have this this ongoing investigation issue, whatever it is, and Sancho to be dropped at the same time, the likelihood of that happening during your professional career is very, very small, given what actual circumstances they are. So for this window to open, it's like, right, it's there now, and now you just need to be selected. But will he? I don't think he will. I just don't. And I think that frustrates him more. He could have gone out on loan, but Erik ten Hag was like, no, I don't want to loan you out. I want to keep you. You're going to get game time. All right, well, if he is going to get game time, give it him tomorrow. Start him against Brighton, see how he does. If he doesn't put in a performance or pull up trees, you start Garnacho there the next game. Because even Garnacho as a starter isn't great. Garnacho is better off the bench, in my opinion. So I would start Marcus Rashford on the left, I would play Pellistri on the right, and I would start Højlund up top. But it could be a number of combinations. You could have Rashford on the right, Martial through the middle, Garnacho on the left. And then he brings Rasmus on as a sub, you bring Pellistri on as a sub. It could be a number of things. Ironically, because we're missing I was looking at the injury list before, right? Get on this. Let me pull it up. So, Kobe Mainu is still out. He's getting closer, probably 2 weeks. Mason Mount not spotted in training and isn't going to be back for the Brighton game. Ahmad said he was out for 4 months from the start of the season. So you're probably looking at like November there, something along the lines of that. Anthony's on a leave of absence. Sancho, we all know the situation that's going on there. Lindelof was ill, but he's back now. Varane is still out for another week or so. Lissandro's back now, so that's great. Amrabat probably won't start the Brighton game because of that small injury, but I imagine he will come on as a sub when Eriksen tires in the 60th minute. He'll come on and kind of shore up that midfield. And then you still got Tom Heaton, Luke Shaw, and Malacia, who are all out. Luke Shaw out till November. Malacia's out until God knows when because there hasn't been any kind of communication with that. It's an unknown injury, so no idea what's going on with him. And then, yeah, Tom Heaton out, but it's kind of on them with Tom Heaton, isn't it? You're not really too fussed. No offense, Tom. Sorry, pal. Let's have a look. Shreyas, so these are the questions I said before. What question would you ask in the press conference? Shreyas says, what does the strongest midfield for United look like? I think that's an interesting one. Dan Errington says, what's the length of time Anthony's going to be out and what's his headspace like at the minute and are the club offering support? I think that's a more detailed one than what the journalist asked. He was just like, where's Anthony, mate? And he's like, oh, they'll be fine. Don't worry about it. He's gutted, but he's out for a bit. Your place to the Cosmos says, I'd ask, how do you feel being fucked over by the Glazers on the board, then walk out before being escorted out, kicking and screaming? That's the best one. That's the best one. We bow to you, your place to the Cosmos. We absolutely bow to you. Love that. David Harrington says, I think he starts Bruno on the right and tries to pack out the midfield because of how good Brighton are at pressing and hitting you quickly. And the build-up as well. They have that kind of, I don't know if he still would deserve it, the way they build up with that box, that 4-man box. It's very awkward to press him. So I think tactically it's going to be fascinating tomorrow as well. The only thing that gives me hope is that ten Hag likes Pellistri. Sharstam says if Pellistri doesn't play tomorrow, his confidence might hit rock bottom. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't disagree with Erik ten Hag on a lot of things, but I think Pellistri definitely deserves to start tomorrow. I just have this, knowing United and watching him consistently for years and years and years. Or just watching ten Hag since he's come in every single game. You just know what he's like. He would go for the player who's played more game time usually. And he actually got criticised about that at Ajax, didn't he? To be fair. So, yeah. But look, he was successful last season, so you can't really doubt the man in that regard, can you? Just to let you know, for people who are currently live in the chat right now, we are going to be live later on for the Brighton preview. For some bizarre reason, other fan channels like to do previews on like 2 days before on Thursdays and stuff. But I like having the press conference to see what the news is, and then we can really get a prediction for you, and a score prediction and accurate predictions on them kind of things. So we're live later on today at 7 o'clock. Me and a couple of the lads. I can't remember who's on. I think it's me, Shreyas, Dan, maybe Adam. I think Adam might be on as well. So he'll be making his monthly appearance on the show. And then, yeah, me, Dan, Shreyas as well. So we're going to get all their predictions. Might even do a little bit of a combined 11. I've already just put one out on the shorts, on the reels, and on TikTok as well, just my personal one. But I might get the lads to do one as well to see what they think and what players can do they think would get in the combined 11. Obviously, if Casado and McAllister was still there, it'd probably be a bit different. But I think it was dominated by Thinger, to be honest. Dan Errington saying, am I the first time hearing it? Sorry, Daniel Raj is on. Is on tonight, not Daniel Errington. Apologies, Dan. It's always about the team. I've already read that. Why are people regurgitating the same quotes, man? I think that's everything. up to now. Obviously, I'll keep it at the side there just in case we had. But like I said, the main talking points, Lindelof and Alessandro will be back in the heart of the defence. On Sancho, he didn't really talk about him specifically. He kind of went off in his philosophical route and was like, the discipline was, we needed discipline when I first arrived. You know, everybody's the same. It's about the team, blah, blah, blah. On Maguire, don't like the abuse. He's a great player. Doesn't deserve it. And yeah, and on Brighton, he says looking forward to it. It's going to be a challenge. And yeah, that's pretty much it, to be fair. I don't know if any more quotes are coming out, so I'll just hang around for the next couple of minutes to see if there's anything. To be honest, I thought it'd be a bit more sparky than that. Also, as well, why did they not give out? Why did they not do it live on MUTV anymore? They've just put it out there. Watch all the part one. Watch. So they don't do it. Usually, you go on the app and you could watch it live, but now they record it, and once it's recorded, then put it out. I think they're doing that because in case a certain question gets asked, or they don't want certain something in, so they could just cut it straight out. I'm guessing because I don't see any other reason why they would do that. I have no idea. But look, I'm looking forward to the Brighton game. Definitely. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be tough. I think the score is going to be, I'm not going to do the score because the score predictions will be on the preview later. So 7 o'clock, make sure you guys come and join us. Get your teams in and your score predictions, and we'll go through the game together, specifics, tactics, individual players, and the rest of it. So, yeah, one last quote from Ten Hag coming in. If staff, players, or whoever cross lines, you have to be strong. Absolutely. And we have seen that with Cristiano Ronaldo, gone. We've seen it with De Gea, gone. Slightly different situation, but gone. We've seen it with other players as well. Sancho now, Rashford had a disciplinary, Garnacho had a disciplinary. People, you can't moan at the man for doing this. The player power has been so bad at Manchester United. You go through the incidents we've had over the years with Ronaldo, Lingard, Di Maria, Depay, fucking other ones who I can't remember off the top of my head. It's a long, long list of players. Pogba, I don't know how I forgot him. And when they backed him over Mourinho, a long, long list of this has been happening for years, and it's time to change this now. And now we're finally changing it. People are moaning at Ten Hag saying his treatment. Idiots like Jamie O'Hara on TalkSport and stuff. So, yeah, that is for Jamie O'Hara and idiots speaking absolute nonsense about Erik Ten Hag and my club. So, yeah, it is what it is. I'll see you guys for the preview. Take care. I hope you've enjoyed this one and have a lovely day. Peace.